Yo, the insane game freak here. Um, usually I said I don't usually do One Piece anime episode reviews, but for this particular episode, I think it's needed. It's justified because this is episode 43, which is pretty much the death of Ace episode. It's even in the title. Ace dies on the battlefield. It's a cause for review. And probably a slight tribute just because it's Ace. Then that is just fuck. I guess we'll try to get through the review and we'll kind of just bring the rest of it towards Ace and just make this somewhat of a discussion about Ace. Just to put that in there. Alright. So, the episode, obviously I'm not going to be in the hypest mood. I mean, fucking Ace just died in the anime. I've known this, but the anime did a really fucking good delivery of it. And it's a bitch. The only thing that makes it a little... The only thing that really was taken away is that there's not that much of a gore sense to where there isn't like a lot of blood, but for the most part, here we go. So, last episode, fucking Akainu fist the race, defending Luffy. Excuse me, defending Luffy. And he takes his fist out, Ace is staggering and coughing blood and shit. Fucking Marco's still trying to get that damn Kuroseki fucking handcuffs off and shit. It's just a bad fucking day. Fucking Akuino's like, oh, it looks like you survived, Straw Hat. And revs up for a second punch. Marco still doesn't have the cuffs off. Whitebeard tries to stop him. And fucking Kizaru's a dick. Kizaru interrupts him so he can't stop him either. So you just see a Mammoth Fist coming at him again. I think this one is intended for Luffy. This is where Jinbei proves his badassness. And if you read the manga, you already knew this was going to happen. And he comes out of nowhere, defends it, blocks it, handles his business, protects Luffy. From that point on, it kind of just goes back to the Ace and Luffy. It's like a long... This is really a review that can never actually give you the full consensus of instead of watching it. You have to watch this episode to get the full meaning of what I'm trying to convey to you people. Fucking after the block, they have like Ace's friends come over, try to blow him up and shit. Luckily, they finally get Mr. 3 there to make the little handcuffs to stop fucking to uncuff Marco, and him and the Rhodes swordsman on Whitebeard's team with the two swords and the Rhodes, I forgot his name, go over there and they hit him and they kind of distract him because he's a hockey user, which fortunately enough helps. Pretty much the rest of the episode though is just debate relating to Luffy and Ace. Mainly just Ace's deal and then going into Luffy and Whitebeard shit. Like, the one question that keeps getting brought up is, why was it, it's like, was it good that I was born? Did I deserve to be born and all this other shit? Luffy's breaking down. And it kind of sets him up for what happens at the end of the episode. But he breaks down, like, really hard. First, he's in denial. He goes through all the stages except for acceptance. He goes through like the whole angry and denial stage saying, you promised that you wouldn't die no matter what. And it's one of those things that's just like, fuck. And as I said, you ain't going to get the full meaning of what I'm conveying unless you watch the episode. It's ridiculous. He goes through the whole motions and shit, and it's like, it's actually just painful to watch. Fucking time slows down around them and shit. You see the war going on, but they're really the only one in like real time, or it just feels that way. Fucking, they go through the flashbacks when Ace was younger, asking people what would happen if Gold Roger had a son, and people telling them that they would kill him and humiliate him and cause him so much pain and defecation just because he's the son of Gold Roger. You see a slight snippet of Dawn a little bit. We probably won't see her face until the flashback, which comes in probably the next, I'm gonna say the next 5 episodes, maybe 6, depending on how quick they go through things. And it's just a continuous streak of just ridiculous. How do I put it? It's like they even go through the whole motions where like Luffy's like begging to get a doctor for Eva to like treat him and shit. The doctor comes over, he's just like, and he's apologizing. He's like, why are you apologizing? Just treat him, please. And Ace just go ahead and sets it up. He's like, Luffy, my organs are burned, they're singed. You can't recover that. He's even begging Eva. He's like, oh, I know, Eva-chan, just save him, please. Inject the stuff into him, please. It's like a little girl sees her big sister on a fucking operating table, and the doctors are trying to save her, but they know for a fact they just kind of gave up because they know she's dead, and she's still there with the little oh god, what do you call them? You know, the things that you're supposed to, like the electric shock you're supposed to get to a person's heart to get it to start up again, and she's like trying to do that repetitively. That's what this scene feels like. Luffy's just trying to, come on, don't die on me, like shit like that, and it's depressing as shit. Pretty much from that point, as I said, the rest of the episode's kind of flashbacks among those kind of things. Luffy's kind of just going through the breaking down motions. They kind of go. Then he goes into his famous phrase, like he's like, "Luffy, I'm not strong enough to even yell my voice. So, could you please give this message to everybody else?" And he's saying thank you because he's like, what he really wanted in life. What he realized, what he really wanted in life wasn't to be famous, but to just find people who cared about him, to find that he was worth being born, to find that him being born wasn't a bad thing. Because as much as Ace talked shit, they made him into a 3-dimensional character, that he wasn't just a guy trying to make people king. A lot of people think Ace didn't get a lot of character development, but that was about it. The backstory covers Ace. You had the introduction of him, what he was like, his cool character and shit, and this brought his deep. This was his arc. This was Ace's arc, and this was Whitebeard's arc. It's ridiculous, and he even goes to the. He just wants to thank them all, man. I think he said the only thing he does he could wish he could see is Luffy become Pirate King. You're just like, damn. As I said before, go watch the fucking episode. It's some deep shit, and it's ridiculous. As it's kind of to the point where you just don't know what to say. Like, because everything else, the rest of this episode, as I've said numerous times in the course of like 10 minutes, it's just their emotions. And what it boils down to is that they have one last scene. He thanks everybody, and he just falls after that. He dies with a smile on the face, which I hope I can do when I die. And you see one last scene. Everyone's turning around looking. Luffy is obviously crying like a motherfucker. Whitebeard has one of Ace's beads rose to his feet. He looks at it, he grabs and he cries. It's just one tear because he's a real man, so he can only shed one tear. And he fucking dies. It's not as gory, but you see blood around him. Not a lot, but you see blood around him. And Luffy's just like Ace. And when you watch the episode, I'm gonna expect, if you're not really in that tune with One Piece, you're probably gonna be like, "What the fuck was up with the ending?" Because the ending, if you read the manga, you know, Luffy kind of has this most fucked up pose where his mouth is like huge, his eyes are like blacked out and shit, like he's unconscious and shit, and he's like this. Well, they actually show that conversion in the anime. Really, what it is, his face is normal, and he's trembling, because he still has Ace's blood on his hands. He's trembling. He's trying to clench his fist. He can't even do that right now. He's gone. And what this really is his conversion to a 4-year-old. The reason why I say that, because he balls. He literally balls. Like BAWLS. He balls. And he's just like... And and when he starts crying, you're going to mistake it for a laugh. Because up to this point, we have never heard Luffy cry like this. Nothing in the anime has happened that was so dramatic that he cries this ridiculously. So a lot of people are going to think this is a laugh going into a cry. A lot of people are going to just think this is really painful to hear. Some people might... I was in the position where I thought I was going to laugh at it. Couldn't even laugh at it. It comes off funny for like the first second, and then it just gets really fucking depressing. Because it's like, ah, it's like that. It's like where it's like, ha ha, like you're about to laugh, and then it just drops. And that's what it is. And pretty much the scene is him reverting to a 4-year-old, crying and passing out all at the same time. He does 3 fucking different things in the entire scene. And the cry is the only thing that is really kind of off for a little bit, and then it just gets really damn depressing. It's like off for like maybe a second, 2 seconds. Because it happens within the last 30 seconds of the episode. He goes into it, and he actually does pass out. He passes the fuck out when he fucking cries. He just goes into this, he's kind of like, ha 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 ha, and they couldn't do it. I could tell the Luffy's voice actress was just like, how the fuck am I gonna do this? Because she's never had to do Luffy crying that hardcore. It's not like the most hardcore cry Luffy's ever done, but it's probably one of the most painful ones. Especially if you're really attached to the show. And it's a bitch. And I swear to God, and you'll see it in the thumbnail, he has the weirdest... It's just like mouth dropped, his mouth is like the entirety of his face, and he broke the fuck down. That's the lowest you will see Luffy. You have seen Luffy in the anime in its entirety. Out of 483 episodes, this is the lowest he gets. The lowest. I mean, there are a couple scenes after, but this is like the initial reaction low, and it's ridiculous. And it's painful, and I suggest you watch it, because this review doesn't even do that shit justice. But my question, this is the only review, this is one of the only few reviews I may do on the episode, because this warranted. And it didn't even do it justice, so I apologize, Ace, that this review didn't even do you justice. But, as a discussion in the comments section below, what are your favorite moments with Ace? I'm not going to say favorite fights, because he's in like maybe 2 or 3. And only one of them really matters, which is the one against Blackbeard. So I'm not going to say favorite fights. I'm going to say, what do you like about Ace? His personality from when we first saw him in Alabasta. Well, technically, we got a hint of him on Drum Island, but I'll say Alabasta. When we first saw him in Alabasta, or when he was first hinted in Drum Island, to 483 where he dies. And it's funny because he won't even disappear from the series seriously until like after all the flashbacks that we have coming up left. But what's your favorite thing about Ace? Is it the way he looks, the way he acts, his persona, his powers? What is it? The discussion is purely Ace. What you thought about the episode and Ace. That's where these comments are set at. Because it's you kind of want to just break down just with Luffy, because you're right there with him. You're just like, damn. You're like, it's one of those scenes. It's just one of those fucking episodes. You're just like, Ace all day, son. Ace all day. I wish I had my Luffy hat. I wish I had grabbed like I wish Ace hats were available to be sold, and I would wear the fuck out of it right now. Wait, I can do it. One thing though. Ace for life. Ace for life. Life's a game. Play to win. I'll see you guys later.